Alright, end of the month, and time for my review of Secrets of a Hollywood Private Eye. And much as the book promises, it is genuinely about a private investigator in the Los Angeles area, primarily Hollywood, essentially his various stories of going on these investigations, etc., etc. Much to my relief, it is not a gossip rag about various Hollywood celebrities or that sort of thing. There are a couple of stories, but it isn't about that. So if you're wanting National Enquirer, this is not the book for you. It's not just dirt about, famous people. It's dirt about a lot of people. No. Actually, what it is it's really his investigative techniques and how he went about them. And then he also he very specifically goes into how you could do things yourself, like if you want to find out. He specifically says things like how to find out if your spouse is cheating on you, how to find the money that somebody has conned you out of. It's that sort of thing. How to sort of disappear from a private investigator. What to do to make his own job, more difficult. It's very interesting in terms of his stories. Really kind of amazing sort of stories that he went through, as you might expect a private investigator to kind of have gone through. Sort of the inside life of what you usually see like on television, but also I was very pleasantly surprised to learn that it's so much about how-tos. And he really gives you the tools that you would kind of need for, finding somebody or hiding yourself. The biggest problem with this, and this is a problem that basically plagues the independent publishing business and art form and all that, and so I'm glad that it had this problem because I want to talk about this. It's the lack of editing. In fact, one of the problems, this one's sort of an extreme example, example of this, because not only is the editing problematic, a lot of times in books, it'll be like, well, minor problems or things that people who really know the specifics of English, notice. The specifics of the little details, that sort of thing. Exactly where you should be using a semicolon here instead of a comma, or, etc., etc. That's usually the problems. In this particular one, they're bigger. They're the types of things like very clearly a mistype. Very clearly, he just simply forgot to put a couple of letters in, or or an entire word is missing. I mean, things that would have been solved just purely through a read-through. So it was a bit disappointing in terms of that. I know one of the people who worked on this, his other work is, much cleaner, much, he goes to it much closer. This one, for whatever reason, they didn't really have. All that having been said, though, here's the thing. If you're going to say you don't want to read something just purely because of grammatical errors, that sort of thing, not that there's an excuse to make those grammatical errors and all that. We do need to work on our work and fix it, etc., etc. But bear this in mind. A professional editor costs approximately $1,000. And a lot of times our independently published work isn't even going to make $1,000, let alone can we afford it, and etc., etc. Again, not an excuse, but just understand that's where we're coming from as independent authors. We do need to go through it a lot closer than in this particular book's case. We do need to do our best at editing, showing it to people who know their grammar very well, and fixing it as well as we can. But that having been said, on the reader's side, not just try to understand where we're coming from, because it's, you did pay money, and so you deserve the best book you can have, but also try to see the forest for the trees. I think that I got that right. Anyway, because if you essentially, let's use this book as an example. This book will help you figure out how you can get money back from a con artist. Now, if you are reading this book and you come to a certain point and you're like, ooh, he wasn't supposed to use a semicolon there, it was supposed to be a comma. You know what, because of that you stop reading it because, ooh, he got a couple things wrong here, then I'm sorry, but you don't deserve to learn the information that he has in this, because you're essentially you're putting these petty things above what's more important. That's not to say we shouldn't be doing our jobs and editing better, but that having been said, don't throw something out just because of certain problems, certain mistakes. it really winds up, in my opinion, making it very petty. That's, to me, a petty argument. It's not that we shouldn't do our job, but at the same time, you shouldn't be putting something down and saying it isn't worthwhile, because, I mean, basically, imagine this. Imagine if I was to come in and go, you know, trying to tell you, hey, there's a fire down the road, but I called it, you know, then there's a fire down the road, you know, whatever. I said it in a sort of funny way. And rather than calling the police or the fire department, you go, oh, well, you said them there instead of there. I'm not going to listen to you. That, to me, is the same thing as looking at a book and going, oh, he got his grammar wrong, so I'm not going to listen to anything he says. Seriously? If that's the case, then I guess you deserve to have the house burned down because you didn't call the fire department because you were too concerned with how it was said rather than the substance of what was said. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Look at the substance. We need to fix as much as we can, but on your part, you need to look at the substance more than the way it's said. And then recognize if there's a problem, okay, there's a problem. Certainly point that out, and I'm going to put that on my Amazon review, and that's what I'm going to say about this. It does unfortunately have some problems in terms of typos and all that sort of thing, but the substance in this book, Secrets of a Hollywood, oh, well, it's all in the bottom. It's Secrets of a Hollywood PI, and I'll put the author's names and a link to it below. Definitely worth reading. Phenomenal information. I highly recommend it for the substance that's in it. Alright, that being said, now time to really face the music. Let's see what's going on with the weight. I have not always been as good about walking, but it is winter. Hey, I lost all my weight. It's once again 0 pounds. I am light as a feather again. No, here. Let's try this again. You can see all my dirty socks. Here we go. 208. Woohoo! I lost 3 pounds. USA! USA! Alright, well, I will be continuing to walk and continuing to read. I'm not exactly sure what yet. Still no one has submitted anything. I find it really unusual because on Facebook you get these book groups and it's like big, it's just basically like an advertisement group. Every single entry is somebody else's book, but you know, now I'm trying to do a review show and nobody seems interested in having it reviewed. But anyway, so I'll be picking, it'll be another nonfiction because, again, I'm trying to follow the genre of what I'm currently writing or promoting, and I'm promoting my own book. In fact, my book, Two Gun Heart, which I'm going to get an example of here, comes out on March 16. So it's during the month that this particular one is, this particular episode is up during. So take a look at that. It's the true story of Al Capone's long-lost brother, who was a prohibition officer in Nebraska, and kind of America's last cowboy. Alright, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, all 4 of you, or however many there might be. Be sure to read more independent books. Gotta find the off button.